So, Paige VanZant just boxed Elle Brooks. And Elle Brooks, if you don't know, is a former adult film actress who has now transitioned into this kind of boxing thing where now she's actually pretty good. And she did have a draw against Paige, but it shouldn't have been a draw. Now, look, I'm not here to hate on Paige VanZant or her husband for that matter. I've got nothing but high hopes for those people. In fact, I just made a video siding with Paige VanZant over Dillon Danis after Dillon Danis tried starting gigantic drama with Paige VanZant. So you know that I'm not one of those people who sits behind his keyboard all day and, waits for these OF models to hate on because I got no life. I think the opposite is true. I really don't care how you make your money as long as it doesn't affect my life. And if you want to post that stuff online, go ahead. Just don't get upset if people start to view you that certain way. That's my 2 cents on the whole thing. But let's focus on the fighters aspect. I really do think Paige needs to kind of stop fighting and not do this rematch because it was a draw where it should not have been. She had a legitimate UFC background. I'll give her that. She did fall flat against the big names in the competition, so she was never a top A-list fighter. I think she was more B or C rankings when it comes to her UFC credentials. But overall, she was never going to touch that belt, and I think she moved on for a little bit. And she does have quite a bit outside of MMA going for her. She's an attractive woman. She's got plenty of stuff on the internet floating around, and I honestly think she should kind of stick with that at this point, just because she tried to go in a bare knuckle, didn't really work out, and she actually could have damaged her face permanently, and that face is how she's making her money, let's be honest. She wants to go into boxing again, more brain damage, and it doesn't really matter how good of a fighter you are. When you are a boxer and when you are like that caliber or something like that, you're taking a lot of hits to the head. The long-term consequences of CTE and everything like that, especially when you're getting hit like that, there's some glory in the fighter's aspect, and there's glory to everybody saying, oh, look, I'm a fighter. And you know what? Elle Brooks has some probably legitimate boxing background that she never made the forefront of her career because she chose to do adult film work instead before she transitioned over to this. A lot of people who have really great credentials never really tried to become professional fighters, even though they probably could have had some stands in there, just because it's kind of a questionable career path, and it's not a good way to make money. And you really have to love the sport, because for the first few years of being a professional fighter, you're not making a lot of money, unless you somehow hit it big or get lucky. But most fighters don't really have a whole lot to their name, and that's why a lot of people would probably pick something else. And I just want to make this video by saying concern, because I know Paige VanZant said on her social media she wants a rematch after the draw. But if this rematch doesn't go her way, it's going to be worse for her health. And then it's just going to be way worse for her public image, because that right now on her Instagram, there's a lot of critics saying don't even do it. And honestly, I would have to say, yeah, just hang it up. Let it go. Focus on modeling. Do something else. You seem like you could probably do something else. I don't think that you're useless outside of the realm of fighting or even modeling. There's a lot of different things that you could go for, but it's very apparent that a lot of people online like to get a joy of kicking someone while they're down. I'm just trying to offer constructive criticism, because also I know your nemesis, Dillon Danis from social media, you don't want to go down his path, because you guys are very similar. You guys do have some really good fighting credentials. I know you're not cream of the crop, so to speak, but just like Dillon Danis, right? Dillon Danis got his black belt under Marcelo Garcia, and then eventually he was hanging out with Conor McGregor. We all know the story. He became an internet troll, and before you know it, he's being beat by Logan Paul. Regardless of whether or not Logan Paul had a collegiate background in wrestling. Dylan Dennis is someone who prides himself in being a fighter for a very long time. And now look where he's at right now. He's an internet laughing stock. Paige VanZant is bordering on that, and she's getting way more critics than she is supporters right now. So what I'm saying is, I hope she quits while she's ahead. Own up to being a model, do that. I think that's what you're built for. I think that's what you're made for. At this point, you had a good run in the UFC, and you did have great credentials, but you don't want to see all that kind of go to the forgotten realms after taking losses against, boxers and everything like that, because you want to stay back in the limelight and get more paydays. It just doesn't seem worth it. And that's what I got to say about that. Paige VanZant, you're not like Dylan Dennis yet. Don't become like him. Don't become his legacy. Peace out.